Hi everybody, welcome to a new occasional series I'm going to be doing that I'm calling Pick of My Pops, and I'm going to be doing these in between my unboxings and announcement videos and all those regular kind of things that I do, but I'm going to be looking at my favourite songs from my favourite bands and artists. If you're looking for music journalist kind of speak with big words like zeitgeist and Aeolian cadences, you're not going to find those here. Just me talking about the songs that I love by the bands and people that I love. And the first one I'm going to kick off with The Beach Boys. At number 25, I've gone for Darling from Wild Honey in 1967. Just a typical example of a happy, upbeat Beach Boys song. And it wouldn't have been out of place 2 or 3 years earlier when they were a very different band. It's very much sort of harking back to that upbeat pop era, but fantastic song. And at number 24, this might be probably the most controversial choice I have in this whole list. But I really love it, and I can only do my favourites here. And it's from Summer Days and Summer Nights, I'm Bugged at My Old Man. I just think it's a really fun song, but it also hints at those issues that Brian and his brothers had with their dad Murray. But just a really good song, and it reminded me of a little bit of some of the other. They did quite a few sort of funny songs in their early days, like Cassius Love versus Sonny Wilson, where they took clips from various singles and made it into a sort of a montage where they were sort of talking about how they worked on things in the studio, made it into a funny song. This was another one where they were showing their funny side, but just a lot of fun. Not a classic, brilliant song, but just one that I really enjoy. At number 23, from 1971's Surf's Up album, it's Feel Flows. Now, I got to know this song from the Almost Famous film from about 20 years ago. I'm sure a lot of you know that film. It just had fantastic music throughout, and there's a lot of songs that I got to know from that film, like Elton John's Tiny Dancer and Sparks by The Who. And this was another one, Feel Flows. It's not typical Beach Boys, really, I don't think, but it's also unmistakably Beach Boys at the same time. Just got a great vibe to it and a wonderful song, and that's my number 23. At number 22, from 1969's 2020 album, it's Do It Again. And again, just another sort of classic Beach Boys pop song, really. And the version that I originally got tuned onto before the Beach Boys version actually was the one that's on this Brian Wilson solo album, I Just Wasn't Made for These Times, that came out in the mid-90s. So he revisited a few Beach Boys songs on here, and the version that it does on there with Carney and Wendy Wilson, just fantastic, and it really turned me on to the Beach Boys version of it. But again, just another great up-tempo Beach Boys song. At number 21, the first of several songs that I'm going to list here from Pet Sounds, the wonderful Pet Sounds. And it's the song that started off life called Hang On To Your Ego. But Mike Love didn't like that. He didn't like the direction that Brian was going in, and this was one where he kind of won the day here. And it was rewritten as I Know There's an Answer. So there's just so many great songs on Pet Sounds, in my opinion anyway, and I know a lot of people's opinion. Great sound with the Wrecking Crew, the way that they managed to capture some of the sounds in the studio there, especially in the quieter moments. I felt the quieter moments always worked brilliantly on those era of songs, but I Know There's an Answer was sort of one of the classic songs from that period, I thought. At number 20, it's a song that they did 2 main versions of, but the one that I've gone for is from the Today album, and it's Help Me Rhonda. The version that's on here I just like. I think it's just got so much more energy than the other version, and again, I keep saying this, but it's a typical Beach Boys single showing off their brilliant harmonies and their up-tempo pop sensibilities, but yeah, brilliant song. For number 19, we're going back to 1963, back to the days when they sang about cars and surf and girls. It's Little Deuce Coupe, one of their early classics of the car genre, and again, just an absolutely classic Beach Boys song, just great fun. And the next song that I've gone for, number 18, it's very similar period, very similar style, fun. You know, no Beach Boys greatest hits compilation is going to be complete without fun. It's one of their sort of archetypal early songs that everybody knows, really. And nobody was making songs like that better than the Beach Boys. Absolutely no way. Great song. The next 4 places, this is just how it's happened to come out, not deliberate, 17 to 14 are all songs from Pet Sounds. At number 17, I've gone for You Still Believe in Me. So, again, just beautifully sung. It's the sound that they get on this song from the Wrecking Crew, just absolutely fantastic. And I've always loved the little car horn that comes in towards the back end of the song. Just really beautiful. And number 16, I'm Waiting for the Day. Again, what can you say about these songs from Pet Sounds? Brian was, I think, at the absolute peak of his powers at this particular point, and he was writing such absolutely brilliant songs. The boys all sang them brilliantly. I must admit, one thing that I've always struggled with a little bit with the Beach Boys, compared to, for example, the Beatles, is I don't always find it easy to know who's singing these songs. So with the Beatles, it's like, that's John, yeah, that's Paul, that's George, Ringo. I can see it a mile off. I don't always find it quite so easy with the Beach Boys songs. But yeah, that's a fantastic song. I'm Waiting for the Day. And at number 15, I Just Wasn't Made for These Times. So one of Brian's brilliant sort of introspective songs, which he'd been doing for a few years, and I've got some of them coming up further along in this chart. But just, Brian really sort of bearing his soul here about what he thought of himself and his life. Fantastic song. And number 14 is another one, really. Caroline No. Just absolutely gorgeous and one of Brian's great songs. At number 13, it was originally supposed to be on the Smile album. It ended up on Smiley Smile, and then ended up, when the Beach Boys Smile album eventually did come out a few years ago, back on there in its rightful place, Heroes and Villains. So one of Brian's great collaborations with Van Dyke Parks, the lyricist. And it's just, it's the Beach Boys it's one of their more complex songs, just showing off Brian's absolutely brilliant ability to put so much into a song and think it through and come up with amazing production. But it goes off in various directions. It's a real sort of song suite, but an absolutely brilliant one. Number 13, Heroes and Villains. And at number 12, just back to classic Beach Boys pop, it's California Girls. So a real brilliant mid-60s pop single, not just by the Beach Boys, but by anybody's standards. This is one of the great pop singles of the mid-1960s. There's only so many times you can keep saying that it's a classic pop single, but they just had so many of them, and this was certainly another one. At number 11, from 1963, a really interesting song, In My Room. So Brian getting introspective really early on in his career, and he's talking about a place that he can go to when he needs to be on his own, and it really reminds me of the Beatles' There's a Place, where also from 1963, where you've got John Lennon singing, there's a place where I can go when I feel blue, and it's my mind. Well, this is Brian's sort of equivalent of that, but he's sort of saying about going to his room, and I've always really linked those two songs together as being sort of cut from the same cloth. I know Brian didn't, I'm not quite sure which song was written first. I know There's a Place came out first, but had Brian heard that? I know we don't really sort of hear about Brian talking about the Beatles until a bit later in their career, but had he heard that? Did it inspire him? I don't know. Maybe you know, and you can let me know in the comments if you do, because I would be very interested to know about that. But it's a fantastic song, In My Room. Okay, we're into the top 10 now. This top 10 is insane. I struggle to think of anybody in history who's got a better top 10 than what's coming up now. But at number 10, I've put Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulder from Pet Sounds. Another one of the classic sort of love songs, lower tempo songs from Pet Sounds. And again, all the production on it is amazing. The band that we've been used, the Wrecking Crew, absolutely on fire. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful song that can't really fail to move you when you hear it. That's my number 10. At number 9, we're going back to 1963, back to that little Deuce Coupe album. And it's probably the first, well, in fact, it is the first Beach Boys songs that I got to really know well, and it's I Get Around. I think it's a really early example of Brian's Brian putting an intricate song together. I mean, I know there was always intricate harmonies early on, but more in terms of a sort of a production style. There's so much going on in this song. It's a fantastic song, but it feels like a progression from the sort of just the regular sort of surf songs, car songs, girl songs. As brilliant as they were, this felt like he was moving along in another direction slightly. And it's always been one of my absolute favourite Beach Boys songs, and definitely, as I say, the first one that I got to love, probably about 30 years ago now. At number 8, if you want early Beach Boys, classic Beach Boys, you ain't going to go far wrong with this. It's Surfing USA. Just what an absolutely tremendous, all-time great single this is. Absolutely brilliant. Everybody knows it. Does everybody love it? I know I certainly love it, but it's one of those songs that kicked off the Beach Boys' career and really sort of launched what was going to happen throughout the 60s. And it just screams classic. Absolutely love it. It's a perfect song. As perfect as it is, though, it only makes my number 8. At number 7, from Pet Sounds, and I know some people don't like this song on Pet Sounds, and I've never quite got my head round why, but I absolutely love it. Sloop John B. So this was, I mean, there's a moment in this song that just is probably my favourite Beach Boys moment, and it's the part where the big backing vocals all come in, sort of probably about a third of the way through the song, and it's just unbelievable. Whenever I've got that song on, no matter what I'm doing, I stop for that moment. Just absolute genius. But yeah, for me, it's a real highlight of Pet Sounds, and I realise that it isn't for a lot of people, but absolutely love it. Brilliant. At number 6, by my definition of what constitutes late Beach Boys period, this is really late. 1971. This is kind of, I don't go too much further in terms of Beach Boys in this. I go a bit further, but not too much. But it's the classic. It's Brian's Surf's Up. What a song. I'm sure you've all seen that demo that he does where it's just Brian at a piano, him singing Surf's Up, the lyrics from Van Dyke Parks, and it's just an absolutely incredible song. Absolutely beautiful. Into the top 5 now. Incredible top 5. And number 5 and number 4 are actually sort of quite a similar theme. But number 5, the opening song to Pet Sounds, Wouldn't It Be Nice? Just so happy, just such a well-produced, happy, classic pop song. Obviously talking about, singing about all the things that we can do when we're older. Wouldn't it be nice, if we could wake up together? And it's just a fantastic sort of adolescent song about looking forward to all those things that you're going to be able to do when you've grown up. And for me, one of the great pop songs of all time, probably. But number 4, ahead of it, I've gone for a song that, like I say, is on a similar theme. And it's When I Grow Up to Be a Man. So again, sort of talking about what it's going to be like once you're older. And it's one that I got to know sort of later on, really. It was probably only about 12, 13 years ago when I first got to know this song. And it just absolutely blew me away. I mean, I don't even think the song lasts 2 minutes. Or it's probably about bang on 2 minutes. And it's just about the happiest 2 minutes you could ever have listening to a song. Absolutely incredible. The backing vocals that go through it that sort of start off with the young age, is it around about 13, 14 or something, and it goes up, and it just keeps going up. That's all the backing vocals do. It just increases by 1 all the way. And I know when I was getting to learn the song, I used to love sort of turning it up at the end and seeing, what's the latest number that I can hear, and you can just sort of start to hear them getting into the low 30s. But an absolutely joyous song from start to finish, and that's my number 4. So 3 songs left, and at number 3, often has been voted the greatest single of all time, and I absolutely understand why. Good Vibrations. Just a stunning piece of work. Not only the songwriting and the performance, but the production. It's incredible. It was one of those songs that really pushed the boundaries at the time of what pop music could be. Using a theremin, the way that you've got the strings on there. Is it cello that's on there? Just absolutely fantastic. The the backing vocals and everything comes together to form, it's like a masterpiece painting is this, of so many different elements, and absolutely one of the great pop songs of all time. There's been different versions. I mean, just earlier on today I listened to the Brian Wilson Smile album that came out about sort of 15, 16 years ago, because I've always really loved that, and of course Brian changed the words there, so he the lyrics, a lot of the lyrics had been Mike Love lyrics, but Brian sort of did it as purely a Brian Wilson lyric version. Quite controversial for him to do that, and I must say, to be honest, although I'll say I'm not a big Mike Love fan, I appreciate his singing and what he did for the Beach Boys, but I'm Team Brian all the way. But on this occasion, I prefer the original lyrics to those that Brian changed it to on his version of Smile. I think the original song is the definitive one, and yeah, one of the great songs, one of the great pop singles of all time, rivaling anything that the Beatles did. At number 2, from 1964, I'll show you the album it's from. It's from Shutdown Volume 2. The song is Don't Worry Baby. And it's another one of those songs that whenever it's on, I have to stop what I'm doing. Because it's breathtaking, is this song. The production on it, the sort of presence that you get in those vocals is incredible. The backing vocals, the way that they work with the main lead vocal, it's one of my absolute all-time favourite songs. I cannot praise it highly enough. It's I mean, it probably gets overlooked a little bit when you compare it to sort of some of the real big hitter Beach Boys songs, but I just think it stands up alongside the best songs in pop that anybody's ever done. That's my number 2. So here we are at number 1, my favourite Beach Boys song of all time. So what can I say about this song? It's we're going mid-60s here. It's a song that has been described by no less than Paul McCartney as one of the greatest songs ever, certainly one of his favourite songs of all time. It's a song that starts great, it gets better in the middle, and then the end is just amazing, the way it all comes together and goes off in different directions with different members of the band singing different things that just all link together beautifully. I'm talking, of course, about God Only Knows. Is it my favourite song of all time? I don't know, is the honest answer to that. It might be, but it's hard to say. But it's certainly in the discussion for me as the greatest song ever created. And it just shows for me what an absolute genius Brian Wilson was. I was lucky enough to see him in concert about 3 years ago, and seeing him sing that song, absolutely just one of the highlights of me seeing live music over the years. Just absolutely brilliant. So I thank Brian Wilson from the bottom of my heart for all these classic songs that he's given us. The rest of the Beach Boys as well, but Brian's the man for me. And that is my top Beach Boys songs in my new series, Pick of My Pops. If you've got any comments, if you think I've chosen an absolute load of nonsense here, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I will see you again soon, hopefully. Thank you very much.